In my last video about my Voxel game, I added alien bases with cool exploding spheres and a shooting plant. I also kinda hinted at adding a boss, but it was obviously not ready. So in this video, I'll actually add the boss and a couple other cool things to finally let the player raid the base and win. So my idea for the first boss of this game was a kind of mutant alien pig, because why not? The pig has insane strength and can do a lot of damage, but he is slow, so I'm thinking the strat will be to run away while attacking. I started by making the boss smaller because he was heckin' huge, but now it's a lot better. He's still shooting balls from between his legs though, but we're not gonna talk about that. I wanted to make the boss chase the player around, so I started working on that, and oh my god, what is that? I swear this game is not supposed to be a horror game, but I got scared when I saw that.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
After giving the boss a reasonable speed and gravity, it looks a lot better. I gotta say, he has a really good balance too, because damn, that boy is so tilted, we should send him to Tilted Towers. Next, I gave him animations like the walk and attack one. I also made him not look down and made him jump if the player is above him. This way he can now chase the player pretty well and look decent while doing it. Once he is in range, he will stop and perform his dangerous attack, which is a smash. I made his smash attack dig a hole in the ground so it feels cooler, but also it can kind of trap the player inside, which I thought was pretty cool. Then I gave him different particles and made the radius bigger, which makes him a lot more dangerous. Next I made it do damage and made the enemies flash red when they take damage. Sadly for Mr. Piggy though, he damages himself while he attacks. I also gave the player an HP bar so he can see how much HP he has left. I thought it was a bit too OP that the player can spam spells forever, so I added a mana bar and mana. Casting a fireball takes up 10% of your mana, and it regenerates slowly, so if you cast too many, you end up running out of mana and not being able to cast anything. I also made it so you can jump while in the air at the cost of 5 mana, so if you have a lot of mana you can move around pretty easily and even kind of fly. But then you risk not being able to attack anymore. Finally, I made the boss not hurt himself anymore and he was pretty much done. He does a lot of damage and his radius of attack is pretty big, so it's pretty hard to fight. But since he's slow, you can dodge him really easily. If he hits you, you fall into his hole and you can get kind of stuck, especially if you don't have the mana to jump while in the air a few times to get out. However, if you move a lot, you shouldn't get hit too many times, so it should be possible to beat him pretty easily. It's so easy that even my grandma could beat it.
Your game is so easy, Max. You need to make it harder.
But that's not very good for bosses. You want a boss to be difficult to beat. I thought the main reason why this boss was so easy was because of its short range of attack, so I gave it a ranged attack. By punching the air, he can shoot a shockwave forward. It's faster and reaches further than his other attacks, so it's very dangerous. But if you get close, he still does his smash attack, so you gotta be careful about that. But I guess none of this really matters since you can always use a strategy like digging a hole for it and then spamming fireball inside. I guess a destructible map means a boss fight is going to be a lot harder to manage, because if the boss falls into a hole, what is he gonna do? That's why I need to add more enemies and things that will make it hard to pull this off. I also need to balance the player's spells, such as making them do less damage the further away they go. This way you can't just snipe enemies from far away without risking anything. For now though, I'll just focus on making all of the enemies work. So I made the plants do damage when they hit on top of the knockback. They don't move and they have low HP, so they are pretty easy to defeat. However, if I spawn a lot of them, we get a ton of lag. Oh no. Well, that is to be expected. For collisions, each entity checks the chunk it's in for cubes that it may collide with. In the case of plants, that is to make them fall on the ground. But the chunks are 50 by 50, meaning 2500 cubes. With 100 plants, that's 250,000 cubes being checked, way too many. So I obviously have to reduce the chunk size. If I reduce them to 10 by 10, I would only check 100 cubes, so for 100 plants that would be 10,000. Much better. Okay, let's try. Holy, that's even more laggy than before. Let me try something else. That doesn't look quite right either. I ended up trying a couple other things and I got it to work a little better, but it was still terrible. But then I reversed all of my changes and tried something else. I ended up with collisions that were a bit buggy, but it was much faster. So after fixing the bugs in the movement, I can finally spawn a bunch of shooting plants and make them all shoot. And it actually runs very smoothly. It makes it a lot harder to fight the boss with projectiles flying at you, and the plants are really annoying to kill. This actually made winning kind of impossible now. So I made the player HP regen a bit, made the mana regen a bit faster, and added the power of shooting an asteroid where you're looking that does a lot of damage. Well, maybe it does a little bit too much damage. I'll definitely need to balance things out, but overall I think it's looking pretty good. There's just one thing that annoys me now, and it is that I have to keep spamming jump all of the time to go uphill, and I keep getting stuck, so I made it so you auto step up when you run into something that is only one voxel higher than you. This makes moving around a lot easier, but it looks a bit shaky when you're going up fast. I'm not sure if I like it or not, it's kind of easier to control, but it doesn't look as good. I guess I could try to make it smoother. Anyway, with the auto step and the asteroid, raiding this village and beating the boss becomes really easy. Also, I'm not sure if I was clear enough about this before, but everything is randomly generated, meaning I can move around or change the seed to see a whole different terrain, villages with different walls, spheres and everything else at different locations. This gives the game essentially infinite replayability, but it still needs a few more enemies and player abilities to be fun for a long time. I also want to improve the graphics of the game, so I've been looking into solutions, but they look like a pain to implement and they would require me to rewrite a lot of the things that I have so far, so I don't know what I'll do yet. I know that every time I touch my code I break something, so if I try to change too many things, I'm afraid I will break the entire engine. But if I manage to do it, the result could be pretty good looking, so I'm not sure if it's worth the risk yet. I could make everything be higher resolution and even implement ray tracing. But that looks very difficult, so I'll think about it.